Like, he's somewhat of a person that he gives you the illusion of something. Even when he's hurt, he makes you think he's not hurt, and that's the sign of a professional.
Mm-hmm. Quick hands. We had very quick hands.
Very accurate. With dynamite in them, and it's unbelievable.
Well, he made 25 successful title defenses, which is going some, isn't it? Particularly as there are a lot of good fighters around in those. I mean, people talk about the bum of the month club because he knocked so many people over quickly. I don't think they were bums, particularly. I just think Lewis was a very good champion who could get rid of people quickly.
Well, can I tell you something? If any of the fighters nowadays was around when Lewis was fighting, the good top fighters, even in the 60s, the Joe Frazier's, the Muhammad Ali's, if they were around then they would be considered bums too. And I know no one considered them bums.
That's right.
Scaff is on the run. Blood just pouring down from the nose of Sammy Scaff.
Tyson does not throw wild punches, Sam. That's
big left hook. And there is Scaff down.
3, 4.
The count is 5.
For the rest of the year.
6.
The count is 7. This one's over.
9.
This one is over.
Now, we had a man, Mike, called Tommy Farr, came from Wales, who certainly wasn't a bum. And here he is, giving Joe Louis his first title defense in New York, 1937. And this is the 15th round, and Tommy's still there, being no knockdowns. So, not a bad performance.
No, not whatsoever, because at this time, as you know, Tommy Farr is way experienced fighter. He's so much more experienced than Joe Louis. Even though Joe's the champion, he's been around longer. He's a much experienced fighter. He fought world-class fighters from America and all over the world. And he's given Joe Louis problems, you know what I mean? And everybody took him lightly, you know. They thought Joe Louis was going to just walk over him, and he was up for the fight. Yeah, emotional, physically, he was up for the fight, and he went in there to win. He was a clever fighter, and he gave Joe Louis problems.
Have you seen Farr before on film?
I just seen him for this fight.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like, you know, this was Joe Louis' first title defense, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He was a little leery, you know, he's probably still going through the stage that he's the champion of the world. And it's really difficult to believe at that particular time.
He was the sort of boxer, Tommy, who could give anybody a fight, go the distance with anybody. A little bit of a spoiler. He could make people look bad if he wanted to. There's a lot of good left-hand work going on in this, which is something you don't often see in these old heavyweight championship fights.
And he's not running. He's right there fighting with him. He's very
range.
clever. He's in range to get hit, but he's very elusive and he's moving. People nowadays probably say he's a spoiler, he was running. It's just like nowadays they would run. Now this is what you call boxing, what Mr. Fogg is doing. He's coming forward, he's jabbing, he's not going backwards. He's making the fight, because back in these days, if a gentleman were to run and stink the place out, he perhaps wouldn't get paid.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he's not a bone crusher, that's for sure.
Well, tell me about it.
You've often said that you are the youngest ever champion. You've often said you want to be the oldest as well. So, I mean, do you really think that you could reign as champion for 17 years? That's something not even Joe Louis did.
True. Maybe, but you never know. He lost interest at that particular time. But even though Joe Louis was just so much ahead of his time, even with the interest that he lost, he was still able to prevail over top-notch fighters like Billy Conn, which is one of my greatest fighters, Billy Conn. I love him so dearly. And to see that fight, I go home every day just to put in that fight. Like if I'm depressed or something, I put in that fight, and it makes my day.
In round 13, Louis shoots in 2 blistering rights and a left. He knows he's got to knock Billy out to win this fight. This is one of the greatest heavyweight championship fights in years. Watch Billy come back with a sensational flurry of punches. Khan is desperately trying to finish it right here and now. But the great Brown Bomber has other ideas. Watch him go to work on the light heavyweight champion. Now it's Louis coming on. This time it's Joe who has Khan groggy. Louis lands a punishing left-right combination. Khan is trying to last out the round. Watch the final 6 dynamite punches to the head, which finally put Billy down. As the referee pulls off the count, Billy will vainly attempt to rise before the fatal 10, but he doesn't quite make it. In sensational fashion, Joe Louis successfully defends his world's heavyweight championship against the magnificent light heavyweight champion of the world, Billy Conn.
What we're going to look at next, Mike, is Jersey Joe Walcott, who he and Ezzard Charles rather dominated that period after Joe Louis retired, having been the undefeated champion. And this is the fight where Walcott won the title, 37 years old, and here he is against Ezzard Charles, who was a good fighter, and this is the 7th round in which Walcott won the title. And this is a stunning knockout, it really is.
I know, but even though Walcott was a very elderly gentleman, he stayed in tremendous physical and mental frame of mind. Just look at his physique. And he's been fighting for years, and he's waited almost 11 years for this moment here.
That's right.
And he's very active, very calm, and here we come. We're going to run into the punch any moment now.
Walcott in the white trunks, for anybody who doesn't know. 37 years old.
And
Not
here
bad.
we go. Accuracy, timing, everything precise.
What a punch.
Unbelievable.
And Charles was himself a pretty good, experienced fighter.
Very underrated, but great fighter. Even though his gameness, he wanted to get up, didn't know where he was, but he just wanted to get up and finish like a man. And this is the most jubilous moment of Jersey Joe Walcott's life.
Does it amaze you that a man of 37 can win the World Heavyweight Championship?
Not at all, because I know anything can be done if you want to do it bad enough. It's, it's in the frame of mind and how much desire and discipline you store. It's just how bad you want to do it. I think anything could be done. I really do. I don't care what it is. I think man could fly if he wants to bad. I think anything he wants to do bad enough he can do. Because it's unbelievable how great the human being is.
You see, it's amazing to me that somebody like Walcott, for instance, could sit around all those years and never winning the title and still thinking that he can do it, even at 37.
Well, when you have 5 children and you don't even have a sandwich to eat, you know, it can it can get you to hang around for a while.
Now, Jersey Joe didn't reign too long, Mike. He was only there for a year and a bit, because the following year, Rocky Marciano came along. He's interesting to me because this is the first World Heavyweight Champion that I happened to see as a reporter. And this is Walcott, this is Marciano winning the title against Jersey Joe Walcott. There's Jersey Joe coming out. And this is the 13th round. Look how short Marciano is. He's shorter than you. And you're always regarded as being one of the shorter boys around today, but he was shorter than you.
As you see, that didn't make any difference to him. He's continuing to bore through with a defense which people didn't regard him of, because he really didn't get hit as much as everyone thought he did, because there's really no way that anyone could take the amount of punishment that everybody thought that he was taking. Nobody would continue to box if they thought that he was taking that much punishment. He was game, took a great shot, timed the right hand perfectly, and he was awesome.
That was some punch, wasn't it? If we just go back again there a moment, just one thing I want to show you. Just look at this knockdown again, Mike, because Rocky hits him with a right, and then he hits him one when he's almost down. Now, that's very typical of Marciano, I'm afraid. I always thought of him as being a dirty fighter, good fighter, but very dirty. He fought a man of ours called Don Coco, and he thumbed him, he butted him. He hit him again when he was down, like he did with Walcott. So he was a ruthless man inside the ring, and yet when you met him outside, he was the perfect gentleman.
Well, in this case, you're not in there to dance. The name of the game is fighting, and you're in there to win.
Tyson comes out slugging.
He comes out smoking like Marvis's father, Joe. Marvis must move or we're going to be out of here very, very quickly. Uppercut, and Marvis is hurt.
Razor is down. Joe Cortez moves in to have a look, and he's going to stop the fight. It did not last 20 seconds.
You're in there, you're risking your health. And when you're in that kind of situation, anything goes within the rules. But myself, I believe you should always fight within the rules.
You wouldn't deliberately hit a man who's down, would you?
No, not at all.
But some of these lads do, you see, they do. I mean, Rocky did. And,
Well,
whether it was his enthusiasm and he couldn't hold it back, I don't know, but he
Perhaps
certainly
it
did.
was. But, some people, I'm not saying Rocky, but some people are, even though they're great, they really don't know because they're not objective, and they really don't know how great they are, and they have a little bit of a little lack of confidence, and they really don't know. And they want to hit the guy and get him out as quick as possible. I'm sure if Walcott would have got up from that shot, which I doubt seriously, the punch he hit him with, the last punch, the left hook, he was dead anyway after the right hand. So there was no way that he was going to get up.
You're absolutely right about Rocky not taking as much as people thought, because Charlie Goldman, who was his trainer, taught him a very quite useful cross-arm defense.
From what I know, Charlie Goldman was a masterful boxer and had around 300 fights as a professional. When he fighting, he's from Russia, I think it was.
Originally, I think that's right, yeah. But it's interesting, isn't it? A man like Goldman, you see, can take sort of raw material like Rocky, and he really was very raw when he started out.
Yeah.
And he molded him. He molded him into a good champion, a tough champion. Where do you rate Rocky?
You have to rate Rocky as one of the all-time greats because of his longevity and his record. You know, even though people say Ali would have beat him, is yet to know because it never happened. So there's always doubt there. You never know what could have happened. You never saw him lost. You saw him on the brink of destruction, and that's what makes a great champion, when they're on the brink of destruction and they come back. It's very hard for me to say, well, he's better. By looking at him on this film and looking at Muhammad Ali or Joe Frazier on another, film, you'll probably say, well, they're better just by looking at them and looking at their folds, but you never know unless the two actually meet. It's difficult to say.
The thing you couldn't do with Rocky, you could never sort of take away his heart. You see, it didn't matter what you did to him. In that fight with Walcott, Walcott was a mile ahead when they came out for the 13th round. It didn't make any difference.
Sure.
He got him in the end. He got him in the end.
But there's something that Customato told me, something about Rocky. He saw him fight the Englishman, Don Cockle, and he said when he fought Cockle, Cockle just pressed him, and he was hitting him, and he was doing well with him, and he was saying, that's the way to fight Rocky, you have to press him. Which is very hard to convince the opponent to do that.
That's right.
Because he's saying that's the way you have to fight.
You have to press
him.
The Rock, Marciano, was the most vicious fighter of my time. Here he is, finishing the brave Don Cockle. And this is Marciano's fight with the wonderful old light heavyweight champion, Archie Moore. Moore actually dropped the Rock in the second round, but it made no difference. Ancient Archie had to give way in the 9th. And at that point, Marciano put his feet up and retired. His successor was Floyd Patterson. Now, he was guided to the title by a remarkable manager, the late Customato, the same man who rescued Tyson from a life of crime.
Well, Cus, he was the kind of person, he loved his trade as well, but he was the kind of man, he thought more about principles than anything and about the care of his fighter. Nothing meant more to him. The money, nothing meant more. I never met a person like that, which principle meant everything. He wouldn't sacrifice the fighter's, his pride or his health for money or nothing. He wouldn't put his fight in unless he knew his fighter could win. Don't care who. If the guy was a great fighter, his fighter's fight, he wouldn't put him in unless he knew his fighter could win. Mm-hmm. And that's what you call, great caring for the welfare. His objective was just to make me independent of myself, where I didn't have to need him anymore. And, I feel bad because I wish he was here to watch me become a success, because at times when I was a young kid, we used to always talk about it, and he always knew it would happen, and he used to tell me to be careful of this, to watch out for this, and everything that he said when he was alive came true. And I feel I was blessed to even know him, you know what I mean? Because everything that's happening now, I've been pre-prepared for it when I was a young kid because of Cus.
He achieved something remarkable in the States because Cus single-handed broke up the monopoly that was around in US boxing at that time, and he took Floyd Patterson to the title and broke up that cartel that was in force in America at that time.
Well, since, as you know, time heals everything, and people who are not boxing enthusiasts like yourself and me and Jim Jacobs, they seem to forget that, and they start to remember, just Don King or Bob Arum or those promoters, but they don't know Cus started everything. Because it was, like you said, it was communism in boxing. You know what I mean? You had to deal with them or else.
That's right.
Make $5,000 for defending your world champion, $500 for fighting main events, and it was unbelievable. Like fighters who broke their neck, sweat, blood, and tears for years, they had to go through that. You know what I mean? It wasn't fair. And Cus wasn't only doing it for his fight; he was doing it for all the fighters in general. But the IBC or whatever they had the fighters and the managers too intimidated, and they wanted to, but they were scared because he single-handedly, like you said, took care of everything by himself. And it took a great deal of courage to do that, and he was a remarkable man.
Well, Cus, of course, took Floyd Patterson, who's there with him, to the World Heavyweight Championship. Our footage here, Mike, is of when Floyd won the title back. He lost it to Johansson, the white man here from Sweden, and this is the fight in which Floyd became the first man ever to regain the World Heavyweight Championship. This is the 5th round.
And if you watch this, I know actually what happened. Ingemar Johansson has a jab that's annoying, that, he keeps it out to keep you disturbed and throw you off balance. And Floyd's objective was to use his jab as much as possible for Mr. Johansson wouldn't use his. As you see, he's using the jab very often. And he knew right here with this jab, he can throw that devastating, thunderous right hand, which he used so effectively in most of his previous fights. Boom. Oh, my God. There we go.
Some left hand. Yes, they used to call Johansson's right hand Ingo's bingo. But it wasn't very much in evidence on this night. He did well to get up from that.
I know, but if you just watch right here how Floyd Patterson turned tiger. Unbelievable. Boom. Unbelievable hand speed. I never saw a heavyweight with quicker hand speed than Floyd Patterson. The fastest heavyweight punching, accuracy, hand speed ever.
Mike Tyson takes 2 steps forward. Let's go with a couple of lefts. Now a right, a left. He's got him down.
He's never been anybody with hand speed like that. And as you know, it comes to, he didn't want to hit him behind his head. He turned him around. He wanted to face him when he hit him. I remember him saying this. But before he hits him with the left hook, I noticed he hit him with a great body shot. And it's just unbelievable. He's just a young kid here. Oh, the body, unbelievable. Boom, that body shot hurt, set up with the left hook. And there we go. Look at it, look at his
legs are quivering.
They're quivering from the nerves, and it's unbelievable. You would think that he would be dead, and it's just unbelievable the amount of punishment that the human body could take.
Floyd, now you see, was one of the gentleman champions, wasn't he? We've talked about Rocky Marciano being a bit dirty, at least I did. And Floyd was just the opposite. He never would take unfair advantage of anybody.
Well, believe it or not, even though Cuss handled both me and Cuss, I never knew Mr. Patterson that well. We met a few occasions, but we never really got intimate with each other. We never spoke. He's a very quiet and introvert person. He doesn't speak at all. If you're in the room with him, you'd be surprised if he said 3 words. He doesn't speak. He's a very quiet and polite person, and he doesn't speak. And it just was a pleasure for me just to be around him. He didn't have to talk.
I am the greatest.
This man, of course, did talk, endlessly and humorously, from the moment they slipped the gold medal over his head at the 1960 Rome Olympics. Cassius Clay. Here he is in an early pro fight, the pupil taming the old master, Archie Moore.